Hello and welcome. Current time that of 10 p.m. Eastern, 31st of January 2021. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and the like. Well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. Looking at a stock code GME, we'll transition into silver and then Bitcoin thereafter that. GME stands for that of GameStop Corporation, which closed the week at 325 and got well above these previous all-time highs of about 54, 56. And this thing's been around for most of the millennium, around 2002 or so it looks like. But obviously breaking out nice within the 18, huge month up so far 1,625%. On the weekly term time frame, it closed the week up 399%. The week before that, it was up 83. The week before that, it was 100. And before that, it was just showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs. On the daily term time frame, the real true breakout occurred on January the 13th, which is 18 days ago. And a lot has been going on about GameStop as far as Twitter and the short squeezing, where that's of course where you're driving the price up, buying these, and thus those whom are short are forced at certain times to cover the short positions and at a loss at that too. And this is just big stuff. So how long this has been going on for? I mean, this thing looks like, it really to me got big, I guess, here on January the 22nd as it was breaking around those previous all-time high levels, I suppose. But it wasn't to do. This doesn't look like a one-day event where it just had this big move. So it is what it is. But the market, of course, going much higher. And then I didn't even know. I've heard a little bit about them in the past, but not much. And that is Robinhood, which is a place, I guess, like an exchange for stocks. And apparently, you're limited to like how many shares you can buy, like one share of Amazon or 5 shares of maybe a $15 or $20 stock, which is just so sadly low. I mean, my lowest crypto is well into the 4 figures as far as value-wise, not counting Theta Fuel, which is like the free roll. And even that's near that number anyway. Got like well over 25,000 plus is worth. So that's my lowest of anything. I'm just saying that's just low numbers that they got. And they and you can sell whatever you want. If you have like 50 shares of, say, a thing you're allowed to buy 5 of, that means you can sell any of the 50, but you can't buy any. If you have 3, well, the max would be 5. You can buy 2. So it's just crazy. As this market had, it's just big moves. And to me, there's it's in this 18. If it breaks, maybe this thing goes to 1,000. I don't know. Let's go to silver, and we'll go monthly time frame to start it off with. Work our way back. And within such, I can just quickly show the cup and handle, and then we'll just scroll back. I can't put the quarterly on this anymore, which is fine, but the move, you go up, big move from like a buck and change to 50, down to like 4, we'll say. Back to 50, down to like 15 or so. And now when we get back to the 50, you got this low, you got this low, we got this low. And you know what? Maybe you can come in and make a low, 19 low change and higher is where the next noticeable nice, lowest, higher low. You know what I mean by that? Highest low, what's the lowest I can go down here and say, yeah, that's nicely above that. And that's, of course, if we could have a situation where it becomes up to the 50 and then maybe the higher low is like 30, or maybe the higher low is like 55 or 60 because it goes to like 120, 140, 160, what have you, as far as, but the potential. And then I'm just going to say on the monthly time frame again, just an amazing pattern when you break out like this, come back down this, and the way it's breaking out, just a magnificent setup right now. And the weekly term time frame is so magnificent in my book. Coming back down to the 23.6% Fibonacci correction and correcting within it for quite some time. And this is a major statement of attempting an exitation of the 18 average, doing so at previous high. And it did so, doing so at previous high because it didn't go down much. It was only one day of price correction, and that was it. And it was a 15% down day, and the market's just chopping around. I did like how in this area the resistance was a little higher than it was in here, and support, same thing. Thus, I like to say resistance supporting previous resistance. But I'm going to have to say something I never said before, supporting previous congestion. because the previous resistance was like around like 25 low change, which is what's much higher, and previous support was like 22 high change and much higher than that. So right in the middle of that, which is like the average price, it's whatever, which is another maybe different term, but I like how it's breaking. And if this thing gets well over 30, this is how do you do? Probably ready to go for significant moves. Like 36 wouldn't be too far after we see 31. Is one of the ways I would look at it. Amongst the weekly term time frame, it's now coming up to the test of this previous high of close to $30. And then on the 4-hour term, just a nice little breakout. We can see this is today's session, so it gapped up much higher today. Within the hour, we can see that it's just been going. The current one hasn't had much of a sell-off. Does not came back to where it came from. Like what happened on the weekend to drive this up? I've always been like very irritated with the fact that the markets are closed. While the market was closed to the time it opened, the price just opened up this. So that means someone just bought this. The lowest bid order was like 28.40, and those were the bid ask orders. After it closed, they were like 27 low change. It's just $1.70 higher. No. Like there had to have been trading going on. That's just like, and I like the crypto trading world because in that there, I mean, markets are just always continuously moving and so on and so forth. And you have access to the bid ask offers. And you can see what they are on every one of those trading platforms, at least the ones I've not been on. And then there's been the whole legacy game of markets move everything, because this has been one of the most manipulated markets, the silver one, for quite some time. And whether the cat's out of the bag and this is a big black swan event that's been going on, or this just whatever this is going to be the big breakout, well, time will tell. But if it is, it's going to be, well, fantastic. I'm not going to say that that's going to be the case. Oftentimes in a market war there could be going on. That could be one of the cases, and who knows who the winner is going to be if you look at it from that perspective. If you're not watching Gold Silver channel with Mike Maloney, he's put out a lot of great information within this. But the whole GameStop thing about Twitter, where there's just trying to drive it up because it was like 140% short on the market, which is, to me, shorting should just be wrong as it is, period. I mean, if you want to bet against the market, that means you own content of it, you sell it, and then you tend to buy it back later. That's pretty much how you'd have to short. So for me, I want to short Bitcoin. I can sell it on the market. I can buy it back if I'm right. Bitcoin goes down, I can buy it back, and I can get a bit more, like maybe a 10% more Bitcoin or whatever market I could sell that way. But yeah, that's just, to me, the whole, I'm just irritated again by a lot of the legacy game systems as it is. But the physical silver is what I own. I have never ever owned any SLV or anything of that kind of, like, other than maybe the odd time when I was day trading, but it would only been a day trade at that time, and that doesn't even count. And that was a long time ago. But whether this thing breaks out again, yada yada, we'll see. But it looks to me as if we are going to probably be seeing the nice, like, low to mid 30s, like the 33ish or so area, relatively soon. And wouldn't be surprised if it's like, let me just take a look on the weekly, see if I guess. Oh yeah, it could easily happen within 2, 3, 4 days. I mean, it could even happen today. Probably not, but I mean, it's more likely. I mean, 33, we'd have to go up additional from here, like $4+ so like 15%. I'm not going to say that's out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, I got to think there's going to be days where we see like 20, 30, 40% days for that matter that could happen. I'm not too sure how how they would stop the markets for like pausing the markets because of stuff like that. I don't know if that would do any good in the sense, we're pausing it for an hour. Okay, so it doesn't trade for an hour, then the next hour just starts going up again. I don't know how that would work. And I got to realize in a situation where the markets are just completely, and I think it's going to happen, like the COMEX system, the whole, just a lot of the things that should be criminal in the markets get exposed, get talked about, and get addressed. Hopefully that's going to be part of the case. That really would show a little interesting situation within the silver and gold prices. Quick little look at gold, but just as a bonus before going into Bitcoin. And within the exact same time frame, it's not as good. It doesn't have that same breakout pattern as anything. It's still in the correctionary mode. We had this breakout attempt, little bit of one, as we see with the line on January the 4th week, that immediately came down the 18 average as low, so it's done nothing ever since. But will silver lead the punch? If silver has that move going to 35.36, will then gold go to like 19.30 and change or so? I don't know. We'll see. But something like this is going to make the gold and silver ratio go down. and it has broken below 70 to 1 ratio, now at 64.5. That's on the weekly chart. Quickly on the daily term time frame, it's been an interesting large level. This is a 69 to 70. Now again below 65, and on the monthly term time frame, there's your failed breakout. That was an interesting failed breakout when it got to over 120. Can't say I'm surprised that it did such. No support found on the 18 lows. It's like one of my favorite indicators, this 18 highs and lows with Fibonacci stuff, and there's a reason for that. So now you can see, as an indication, you had your break above it. You come down to correctionary move for like one day, and then you just resist on this one. Then you come down. Ooh, now the question is, when you have a spot like this, that was pretty bad in itself. Can it hold and stay above this? That means the support established at 75.5 has to hold. It obviously didn't, and it has to recapture the band really quick. Well, intra move, it came at least back up to here, but it obviously did next day. It faltered below, and just the telltale sign below 73 would be like, okay, that's a failed breakdown. And now they have this resistance come in here, and you see it go up from this move, leaving it's pretty much near the 18, and as it's breaking down, now we come up this area, which you could say is weak support, and obviously not such. So now this general area I'd be looking as a resistance point, so 68.8 up to this, just even where support here was at like 75 high change as well. But it's in breakdown situation, so I wouldn't be surprised if this does go below 60. I'm not going to calculate it. I might have done in the past, but Fibonacci from here to here, you got like little support like on the way down, like around 47, 48 might be an interesting, bigger, more, or 50 even, as a more bigger level. But really the big level would be, and I'll just give you the math, 126.6 divided by, we'll say like 30 or so, 31. 30.2, we'll say. So a little over 4 to the root of 0.382 multiply 30. 32 even. 31, 32. And that would be the number. It'd be around here. 47, 48. But to me, that's what this symbol is telling me, because failed breakout, non-support here, established support, resist where we came from, then within shorter term extension from here high to low, failure, breaking down below. So on that break below, that's basically the indication that we're going to have a significant leg lower. And to me, it looks like somewhere in the area would deem to be the next level of potential level of support. Let's move on to Bitcoin. And it's currently in at 33,621, and we've had a decent amount of support around 30,000. First on the way up, it had liftoff support for its final very quick resistance leg to last all-time high, which is now early in the month. And as far as I'm concerned, the month has only got about a total of 60 plus 47, 107 minutes left. How did it take me so long to get that number in my head? 107 minutes left in the month. So, therefore, coming back down here, January 11th, big move in itself, and a huge rally, and it hasn't even been to that point once, almost near it here, which is that last failed breakout, which we'll see a little more clearly on the shorter term time frame. But then support hit on the 22nd, and then again on the 28th, and now we have this breakout. So therefore, what do we do? It's got to break one side or another. And it's one of those like wait and see things. You know, if it breaks down below the support, significant leg lower. So at least down to 20. And I don't know why, but I mean, normally I'd be thinking 20 should be a key level, but 23, 24. But not until I see weakness amongst the 18 average of lows am I going to be saying, yeah, it looks like that's going to happen. But at the same point, I need to see this thing have good momentum above the 18 average of highs for me to be, and this thing is on a bullishly nice front, and I can see it attempted to do so on the 29th. Hasn't even attempted to get back above it since. It really hasn't even been that close. So it's not a good sign that it gave up the rally too fast, but at the same point, it's held as well too. Support, which is an area of previous resistance, so the good and the bad amongst that level. To get above the 18 average of highs, it's got to get above 36,500. Previous high it established twice, it is now the range of 38 change up to 39 change. And then up to that is 41. So really it's a range bound between 38 to like all-time high of 42 as like the next two key level. So if it gets above this, then I'd be looking for a move to this. And then breaking that, now we're talking about new uncharted territories, the 50, 60, 80,000 game and all that kind of stuff. But as long as it's in the 18, it's yada yada in the correctionary move. Now, as far as this move, let's take a look at this because this is that little bit of that failed breakout that we're seeing. It manages to get above this high and this high. So now it comes back down to the 18 average, a newly rising one. And weakness at the lows. I've talked about that so many times. Starts right here. And I'm going to do that really thing that you might hate, this or that situation, because this was a very bearish candles, two of them at 11 a.m. and 7 a.m. stamp. And even the previous one before is nothing to get excited on a bullish level. However, this one, I'm not going to say you get optimistically bullish, but I'd be a lot cautious more now as a short-term short. And shorting in this market is just a fool's game, I think, as it is anyway. But throwing that part aside, sorry to stall. I'm watching hockey right now, and I'm really cheering for the Edmonton Oilers. And Skinner just made a nice save for me. Sorry about that comment. It doesn't mean anything to you, but with that being said, moving on to this whole period. Okay, so what I have to see, does the hourly show anything that's like telling me that? Well, looking at the 18 highs, it tried to get above it here on the 16th. It obviously failed. And lower low, or matching low to here, lower high, break support, decent leg lower. But after this lower high that matches previous support, I gotta say so many times before, you break a key level of support or resistance, then you expect it to be the opposite after a key break and then move from that direction. So after breaking support, I'm looking for this to be resistance. Well, here it is, resistance on the 18 stamp. And then on the pullback, it's pretty much a matching low, but it's definitely higher. Significant move as it is. So go to the previous level, come back, and now we've broken it within this 20 stamp, which is just spectacular. And then we have this little breakout in here above the 18 average of highs, which is a nice little attempt statement. I mean, it did get above it, barely the previous one, and it had continued follow through the previous period. 42 minutes and 15 left, so a little quarter of the way through, to a third of the way through almost. But it's got potential on that level, and on the 15-minute time frame, as it goes, because of this high being higher than this, but we're still, of course, got all of these lower ones, that if there's any type of correctionary move, and it's got a little bit of the ways to do it on this time frame, then if it successfully corrects this next move, and so meaning, we've already established high at 33.8, like 4 periods ago, and it's just chopped around within that area ever since. We've had previous resistance at 33,000, which was liftoff support, even in the area all the way down to 32,950 area. So 32,950 up to 33,300. If it comes down towards there, I mean, you need to see on a short level, I almost need to see a lot of stuff happen. I need to see weakness amongst 61.8% down. So whatever, like a 61.8% down move is from this high to this low, I need to see breakdown signals from that point below there for me to say that we should be thinking of having like bearish thoughts or betting to go down, or you think it's going to go down, any of that type of stuff. But until then, I'm not going to think that. But again, it's got a long ways to go within this move from up here, that I'd have to say the same thing. I'd almost have to say it has to show breakout signals from 61.8% from the 32,000, hard to say, 32,300 and change level to the 40 or the 38,000, these highs here. If I can see that it's breaking out above 61.8% in here, and that's a long ways to go up on the upside here. I mean, that's just why it's like one of those, oh my goodness, I don't know what to. It's really very difficult in predicting movement at this stage for the short-term run, which is the way I like it, because sometimes it should be easy, sometimes it should be hard. And for me right now, I just would need to see more clear signal indications. And again, a 61.8% move in here. At least for now, if you can see it hold and stay above 34,400, but even support, like, even have some signs like at first, if it can go up, come back down to say 30, this area here, then up again, and then come back down to say 35 and change. That would be just a good signal, something like that. And then if this thing does end up going like 37, 37.5, you're just going to have to give this full, like, oh my goodness. Because one of the hardest things in the world is when these things just go straight up. Like, boom, it's like all the way up. It's like 37,400 in this example. And you look at this on whatever hourly time frame, you're just looking at just like 1 or 2 or 3 big green candles or over and over and over again, well extended on the 18. What do you do? Because you've pretty much shown the signs that this is a failed breakdown, if that would be the case. And you're way overextended on the short run, and it's just an interesting, fun gamble play, because you could just buy a 37,000, be so right because it's that failed breakdown, and there's weak resistance that approaches, and next thing you know is 43,000 an hour and a half later. And then at the same point, you could buy at the 37,000 mark if it goes up there, and it's way overextended. Next thing you know, it just comes back down to where it comes from, the 34, and we don't know if it's a failed breakout or if it's, again, coming back to previous resistance, and then it's a good bottom spot, and we're just going to have higher highs and higher lows after it, yada, yada, yada. But as it goes on the monthly term, it's like barely overextended. It's not even really overextended. It's just extended. It's not even. If it starts to break out, then it would start to be barely overextended. And I have seen markets just have fantastic moves. Oftentimes, these moves will, if they're going to have a decent size play, it's going to do so with a fantastic move. And I don't think that 45, 50% for the month is anything great. The month closed at 14.3% for January as we're now starting into February. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.